Hello, everyone. How you doing? Is it kind of weird to hear me talk in English? Is it? How many people do we have in the room who will not understand me if I would go in Turkish? It's just you. You are the reason. I'm just joking. I mean, we are taking, there are cameras all around here, so we're going to share. I guess they are going to share this video online, so that's the reason I'm going to do this in English. And this, I know this sounds like an AI session, but think about it. What does it say? It says implementing AI into your apps without learning AI, so what the heck are we going to learn if that's not AI that we are going to learn? I guess you all know how to implement some kind of a REST API. You all know how to use some SDKs, and that's going to be the whole point of this session. But before we dive into the details a little bit, here's a quote, and notice who that quote is from. It's from everyone. For the last 1.5 years or 2 years, everyone is like, hey, I want to learn machine learning. Hey, I want to learn AI. I want to be a data scientist, even though I have no idea what is the difference between a data scientist and a data engineer. I just want to be one of those sexy things because I heard they're paying a lot of money for those people. So and that's the mindset, right? And on the other hand, I mean, employers are looking for data scientists, but if you ask them the details of what's going to be the job description really, I'm not sure if they're really looking for a data scientist. So, and that's okay. The question is, do we all really need to be? I mean, we have actually a couple of questions. And I was, prepping this presentation deck, obviously, yesterday night, like, every good presenter does, just, the night before the session. And I started thinking about, what type of questions should we ask before we decide if we should invest our time into learning something or not, right? Because time is limited, especially for you younglings, who wants to accomplish a lot in a very short amount of time. Isn't that the problem of your generation? I'm not sure if that's a problem, but that's an observation at least. What does it mean to learn AI? That's the first question. I mean, what does it mean for you to learn AI? When you say, hey, I want to learn AI, what does it really mean? I mean, what is the end goal here? When are you going to say, I learned AI? When is that going to happen? Is there something that you want to do, and once you do that, you're going to say, okay, I learned AI. What's going to be? If you do just a little bit Googling, you're going to see that there's a huge amount of information. It's a huge space, AI. I mean, the first thing you're going to see is a diagram that shows you like 25 different types of AI, and that's where you start with it. So it's important to understand where you want to go first. What is the purpose in learning AI, right? What do you want to accomplish at the end of this? What drives us to learn AI? Those are just questions that came to my mind yesterday night. And the final goal here is to answer the final question, the last question in this slide deck is the most important one, I think. Because, is there something else that I can learn that's going to bring me more return on my investment, which is my time, right? I'm investing time, my time, and potentially money as well. And then is there something else that I should invest that will just bring me more revenue out of it? Not necessarily monetary revenue, but maybe from a career perspective, right? Should I just learn AI because every LinkedIn post out there is about AI? Is that the thing? Because trust me, three or 4 years later, I mean, I have been in this for like, I don't know, 15 years. It comes and goes, right? These topics, these trends, these technology, they will come and go. You will be here, I will be here, and we will all need to make money forever. So it's not going to be like in 4 years you will be, you will not need to work anymore. In that case, okay, go with this wave, okay, and you don't need to catch the other wave. But you need to understand this is just a wave, and you need to decide if you want to hop on this one or skip it and invest something else that's going to give you the boost to jump into the next wave. I know this is going to start being a little bit too complex, but what I'm trying to say is, should you invest in something fundamental that is going to set the ground for you so that you can jump into the next thing, or should you go into the water, cold water and start with AI right now without maybe learning some of the other things that you might have learned about. So I know I'm not gonna, I'm not at that age, but I don't want to remind you the people who say, you shouldn't learn Java or C# or whatever high-level languages are crap. Go start with assembly or C. No, I'm not saying that. I understand that there needs to be some kind of an isolation between these layers, and you need to pick a level for yourself, right? You cannot learn the full stack. You're gonna pick a level from the stack for yourself. I mean, if you are gonna be, even we start talking about data science and data engineering, right? These two things are totally different, by the way. Let's stick with data science. I mean, if you ask what is data science to someone who is graduated from statistics and someone who does the implementation and fine-tunes different AI models, their definition of the work that they do daily will be very, very different. So, let me stop there. And these companies, including Google, I will go through a couple of companies here, the major three. I kind of missed IBM. I forget to include them. I'm really sorry about, yeah, sorry. So Google, AWS, and Microsoft are the three that I included in my slide deck. And I am coming from a background that, by chance, I started from the Microsoft side of the world. It's just because, when I was 13 years old, I saw a basic book, and that's the reason I started from that, that part of the world, and I kept going from basic to Visual Basic to C#, and that's where it did go. It wasn't a very conscious decision, to be honest. So when we look at all these vendors today, what they're all trying to do in this previous session that was in this room, I'm not sure if you did attend that one or not, but the whole idea is all these vendors are trying to make it easy for you to deliver value to your customers, and that's it. That's it. They want you to deliver something to your customers. They want to empower you so that you can do something easier without requiring a lot of resources that they have, right? Because think about it. If you're going to do an AI project and you have nothing, right? You have nothing. None of these open source libraries, nothing. The team that you're going to need to build is going to be so big. And the time that you will need to work on your project, whatever that is, it's going to be so big that you're not going to be able to do anything. And when we talk about AI, we need to simplify things, because we don't want to end up being, most probably, especially if you are considering small and medium businesses and small startups, or maybe in your case, we are in a university, right? Most probably that's a project you want to, fire up yourself, right? Without even a team, maybe. You are already in a very difficult world because you are most probably building a mobile app. You have to build some kind of a backend. That's enough complexity already. I'm not even talking about the scalability of the backend. I'm not talking about the distributed concept of the backend. I'm not talking about caching on different layers on the backend and on the front end, synchronization. Okay, you got enough problems in your head already. And on top of that, they just don't want to add more problems, more things for you to learn, or more things for your team to learn, or more people for your companies to hire, because it's just not going to happen. So what they're doing is they're releasing these services that are crazy easy to use, right? They encapsulate all the complexity of the AI, they put it in the bag, they handle all that complexity, they fine-tune the algorithms, they even sometimes pick the right algorithms for us, and expose just simple parameters that we can fine-tune, and that's it. And then we can use these services mostly in a serverless fashion, without provisioning anything. And these are the types of services that I will be focusing during my session, because I don't like provisioning infrastructure to be able to do something. I don't like it. I want any service, it doesn't matter. Any service that I'm going to use, I want them to start from zero consumption and go indefinite, right? If I don't use that service, I don't want to pay for it. And when I start using it, I want to pay in a granular fashion for the amount I'm using. And that's the whole concept of serverless, right? And serverless AI is something new. That's what we call these services. So Google has, I mean, this isn't a very fair slide. I need to be honest. Because it looks like they only have 4 things, right? Between Google, AWS, and Microsoft, I guess the worst website, from a design perspective, the worst is AWS. But from a UX perspective, I guess the worst is Google's, because it's crazy hard to differentiate what services are serverless, right? What services are provisioning based, what services are not provisioning based. They're all mixed. And on the other hand, they have this Vision AI service that has a lot of feature in it, but they didn't separate these features. They, bundled up all of that into a single product, and maybe that's good for simplicity, but it's not good for discoverability. So I know it looks like they have only 4 services, but there's more into that. When I jump, for example, into the Microsoft slide, you're going to see that Microsoft is just showing off everything. And most of the things that we're going to see in the list in Microsoft are actually part of that Vision AI in Google. So they have, most of the time, they have the same services, but they're all grouped into this product called Vision AI. So that's why I'm saying this slide doesn't do justice for Google. But this is what they have. Video AI is about being able to extract people, their voices, recognize people in videos, recognize text from videos, recognize when they show up in the videos, when they're out of the scene and stuff like that. You just give your video file, you let it analyze, and it's going to give you all that metadata so that you can do whatever you want to do on top of that. So these are the 4 services from Google that you can use to get short means. The good part about Google, I mean, if you compare AWS and Azure and Google, I guess, and if you keep in context that we are in Turkey right now, the best part, the most advantageous part of Google is that they have Google Search. I'm not sure AWS has anything other than, you can call Amazon.com a search engine. That's a different discussion. Microsoft has something that is not available in our country. Do you know the name? See, that's what I'm saying. So they have Bing, which is not, as a product, officially it's not available in Turkey. So why would I didn't even include that in my slide deck. So, and that's where the power comes from. Google's power comes from Google Search. They know a lot, right? They know, for example, there's this API which gives you, recognizes the celebrities, which gives you the number of celebrities in a photo, their identities, right? They can recognize celebrities in video files and images. And if we're talking about celebrities in Turkey, then the best one is Google, because they have the data. They are traveling the web. They know the context of this geography, so they can do a better job recognizing celebrities. It's not about, it's not about the technology itself. It's how educated your machine learning model is, right? So that's the best part about Google. When we jump into AWS, the names are a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same set of services. And these are the ones that you can use from AWS. I don't know what type of advantage that would have, and I need to be honest, I've never used any of these, so no idea. Just the list so that you know at least something is available on AWS, and if you go to their website, this is exactly the list that you're going to see. It's a little bit better than Google from a discoverability perspective, and this is Microsoft. It's like all over the place, right? Some of these services are in preview. I didn't flag those. But let's go one by one, because again, the reason I'm going through these services is because I know them. Okay? It's not because they're better than the other or whatever. So anomaly detector, it's an interesting service. You simply give all of your data, and you can keep giving data, and you ask if there's an anomaly or not. That's it. That's it. It doesn't require the context of the data. It's just data points. You give data points, it recognizes patterns, and it tells you if there is something outside of the pattern. This can be used for user logins. You might have noticed when you log into Facebook or whatever, when you travel outside the country, right? And when you log into Facebook, it's kind of, warns you like, there's something weird is going on. You were from Turkey, why are you logging into your account from Germany or whatever, right? So that's an anomaly detection happening there. Anomaly detection is a very wide topic, obviously, but this API makes it that simple to use it. You don't need to learn machine learning. This is just REST API, send data, get data, that's it. What's next? I'm not going to go all through this. Which one is a little bit more interesting? Q&A Maker is an interesting one because this is very, very high level. If you have an FAQ website on your website, FAQ web page on your website, that would be a better sentence. So you just give it to the service, it extracts all of the questions and the answers, and it builds a chatbot for you. That's it. It does it all automatically. It exposes you a chatbot that you can expose to your customers. Obviously, it's going to be as good as your Q&A is, the FAQ page is, and maybe you want to do a little bit more improvement on that. But it helps you getting started, and it helps you getting started from the data that you already have. It doesn't ask you to build something from scratch. You already have some kind of FAQ on your website. Well, let's start with it. Let's make things easy. Let's get your feet into the water. So that's the whole idea of all these services. So let me talk about face recognition a little bit. And again, we are not here to talk about crazy, revolutionary things to be accomplished with AI. We are here to talk about small things that you can do in your app that will differentiate. Here's an example that I really like. How many people are using Twitter here? Cool, great. If you're not using it, please use it. And it depends to who you are following, actually. But if you follow the right people, Twitter is a very, very, very beautiful app. So what happens is if you tweet an image on Twitter, I'm not sure if you noticed this or not, but if you tweet an image, let's say you include a big picture of of your friend, right? But your friend is on the right side of the photo, and on the back there are mountains and it's the scenery, right? And you tweet it. When you go back to the timeline, Twitter crops the image, right? It makes it a little bit smaller, not just resizing, cropping, so that it fits into the timeline view. And when it does that, again, next time, take a look at it. When it crops the image, even if your friend is on the right-hand side of the photo, it doesn't crop into the middle. It recognizes your friend, and it crops to the right of the photo. It leaves the scenery out, but keeps your friend in the photo. So is this rocket science? Is this like revolutionary? Is this like, oh my God, why didn't we think about it? This is huge. It's not. It's not huge. It's small, but it's important. It's what differentiates you from your competitor. It's the user experience. It's about UI in this case. It might be about something else as well. And being able to recognize the object of intention in the image, the object of interest in the image, and crop accordingly, there's an API for that. It's like a sales pitch, right? So there's a single API, and I will do the demo. You just give the resolution, the height and width and the image, and it does the object detection on its own, and it crops accordingly, and that's it. It's as easy as that. And this is what we're going to talk about this session, right? Do small things that will differentiate your apps with AI. That's the whole point. And face recognition is part of it. You can do face verification, and again, face verification is not for login, for example. It's not for authentication. One thing that we are, I guess it started with Apple a little bit because of the fingerprint thing. The whole idea that a fingerprint is a password or your face is a password is totally wrong. Any ideas why? Yep.
It can still be replicated.
It can be replicated. That's good. Anything else?
You can
You can't change it. You can't change your face. It's gone. You can't change your fingerprint. Password needs to be something that you can change. Isn't that so stupid? Yeah. So don't do it. Face recognition maybe can be, remember my username type of thing, right? I mean, be aware of the context. I am here, but it's not necessarily an authentication. So similar face searching is an interesting one. I think every phone today has it. So when you upload your photos onto your phone, it recognizes different people and then groups your photos based on the people and so on and so forth. So you can do that through the APIs. You can do grouping, face identification. You can even train your model. You give 10, photos of a particular person, and then give another one and say, hey, who is this? And he's like, yeah, this is the other person that you trained me about. I mean, he's not going to be able to recognize the person, right, unless you identify it, but it's going to give you a unique identifier for that person, and then the next time when you give a photo, it's going to give you the same unique identifiers. Again, pattern matching. So let me do a small demo here, and hopefully demo gods will behave. So what I have here is a small project. By the way, the source code for this project is on GitHub. If you want to go ahead and grab it after this session, I will share the link for this. So this is a very, very small thing that I did. This is a serverless function. I will simply run it locally. Does this microphone work? Okay, it works. Great. Let me go back. Ouch. Take it slow. Okay. So there we go. So this is all the code. Let me zoom in, right? This is it. I mean, this is it. Do I need to tell you anything about this code? Face client. This is obviously an SDK that I'm using. I'm using the SDK. I'm giving it the subscription key that I got from the Azure Portal, just a copy paste. I mean, I know you are wondering what's in this preparation section that I got hidden in here. It's just, variables set up for the serverless function, get those from the config file and so on and so forth. Logistics, it has nothing to do with the AI part of the thing. And this is it. I'm creating a face client with the endpoint and the subscription key that I got from the portal. So I create an instance of it, and then this is the method I'm calling. That's it. I direct with URL async and give the URL. These two parameters are telling the backend to give me all the metadata about that face, including face landmarks. What can be a face landmarks? That's an interesting naming convention, right? Face landmarks. It's your nose, your eyes, right? The coordinates of your eyes and your nose and everything. It's going to extract everything and give those back to me. And let me run this locally and see what this is about. So when I run this locally, I'm going to get an endpoint. Again, keep in mind, I'm running my own server right now that will talk to Azure about the AI and then expose a local API. So this is the API, the local API that I just showed you the code. I should actually have a better version of this. Okay, here we go. So this is the photo that I want to pass as a parameter to this API. So this is my brother. Why are you laughing? It's like everyone knows the truth. Yeah, this is old me. Yeah, we separated. And anyways, so I'm gonna stop there with the jokes. Oops. Okay. So this is gonna be the photo that I will pass as a parameter to my local API. See there, this is the censorship API that I wrote, and as a parameter I'm passing the full URL. I'm not even downloading the photo myself, I'm just passing the URL to Azure, that's it. I'm not even gonna mess with the binary. And hit enter. Let's see. Please work. There you go. Did you see what happened? I told you, this is censorship. So, how does this work? Actually, what funny is about this one, there's actually another API that does this. You don't even need to write code to blur anything. There's an API which is, which has everything in it. It finds the eyes, it blurs them. And there was a name for it. Privacy moderator or something, I'm just making it up, but there's an API for that one as well. So this is the output part. I mean, this has, again, nothing to do with AI. The reason I'm showing you this is because, I'm getting the image and blurring it, right? I have to do it myself in this case. And the only part that we might be interested in is this part, right? I'm creating a rectangle for the eye, and these coordinates are actually coming from the API response, obviously. So remember here, we got a face list. This gives us a full list of all the faces in the photo and all the coordinates of all the face landmarks. In this case, I'm being a very dirty programmer and just selecting the first face, not caring really about the number of faces. So I'm selecting the first face and doing some pretty fundamental math. Nothing to do with science for sure, I guess, at this point. So left outer eye minus the eye size and so on and so forth, and that's it. I'm getting all the face landmark coordinates, creating a rectangle, and finally blurring that rectangle in the image and saving it to the output stream so that I can return it to the user. That's it. Again, has nothing to do with AI. The only part that was AI is this part, which I don't think, again, has nothing to do with AI. Right? Just calling a function, calling a web service, and that's it. And we have implemented an AI functionality. The other one is computer vision, being able to detect objects in photo, being able to do OCR. The generate thumbnail is the one that I was talking about, the Twitter example, remember? I will show you an example about that one. And recognizing celebrities. Like I've said, this is available. I didn't see this on the AWS API set. Maybe there is, I don't know. But if you're going to do this with Turkish celebrities, make sure you're using the Google service for this because it's the most successful one. So, crop smarter. Maybe we can crop smarter. Let's see. I actually have this running, right? Okay. Smart thumbnail. So this is the code. I mean, at this point, these are all similar, right? Instead of face client, create a computer vision client, give me the subscription key, give me the endpoint. I mean, these are the fundamentals. And finally, there's this generate thumbnail method that I'm going to call. I'm given a resolution for a size for the thumbnail that I want to create. Here's the original image. And this is a little bit funny. This is a parameter where you specify you want to have a smart thumbnail. I am not sure why would there be a parameter like this. Because who would disable this? Who would say false? No, don't create a smart thumbnail, create a dummy one. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason that I'm not aware of. It just looks funny to me at least. So that's it. Let's go and where's the endpoint for this one? Smart thumbnail. Do I have one already? Okay. This is the photo that I will use for this example. Let me show you that. Okay. So this is an image that we will crop to 500 to 500. The guy is on the right. There's a beautiful scenery on the left. And usually when you crop this thing to 500 to 500, I guess you will pretty much cut the guy from the middle, right? So let's give that as a parameter to our function and see what happens. There you go. So it does detect the object of interest and crops accordingly. And at this point, remember, the only code that I wrote is this one, and I am giving the URL, nothing else. Obviously, I am getting a stream back because someone has to get that image, but I'm not even downloading the image and giving it to the service. I'm just giving the URL, and and then I'm simply outputting the stream onto the response so we can see that, and that's it. Easy. So the video indexer is another one. There is a website where you can test all of the functionality of video indexer. I will have that at the end of the presentation deck. The interesting thing about video index is it's a little bit of an expensive service because, you know, doing things about video is always expensive, depending to the resolution and the bandwidth of the video as well. Bandwidth, yeah, anyways. So here are the capabilities that the service has. It is able to identify people in the video. It is able to recognize the people if they are celebrities. It is able to tell you when people start talking. It can essentially give you a response like this. I see 3 people in the video. The first one starts speaking at minute 2 and stops at minute 3 and starts again at minute 5 and stops and so on and so forth. So it tells you when individual people start and stop speaking. It can transcribe what they're saying and turn it into text and give it to you. When it does transcribe the text, the voice into text, obviously it gives you the timestamps as well. So you specifically know how many people are in the video, what they are saying, what they're talking about, when they're talking about. And based on that information, imagine all the things that you can do. I mean, even making that searchable metadata is huge, right? Obviously, there's a lot of processing that goes into that, and that's why I'm saying these services aren't very cheap, because it takes a lot of power to process, especially a 4K video, but the end result is like a bunch of information that is really very, very hard to get. I mean, even if you had, you know, some people doing it manually, it will be crazy hard to do. And these are stuff you can get out of the video indexer API set. Like I said, there's a website for testing that you can use, but I'm not going to do a demo because it takes a long time to process even a single video. So custom vision is an interesting one because so far we already talked about, we always talked about, you know, built-in functionality kinda, you know, the capabilities of the platform, you know, the stuff that is built in, that is pre-built essentially, where we don't have really an influence into the functionality of the API, right? Because they were very, very high level. So custom vision, as the name suggests, it gives you some customization ability. How does that work? So we do get a little bit into data science here. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous for me saying that this is, as far as we go into data science, this is, you know. Anyways, relatively this is nothing about data science. And please forgive me, I had to remove that preview flag because it's not a preview anymore. So in this case, what we are going to do is that we got a bunch of images, right? And we will upload those to the portal. And then we will train the machine learning algorithm and say what these images are. And then use that model. And we will do this on our own without writing a single line of code. In this case, I will use some, you know, let me do the demo actually. Where is it? There is it. So, this is the Azure Portal. You have to get a custom vision service from the Azure Portal. Once you get it, there is this link in the quick start page. This link says custom vision portal for dummies. No, it doesn't say for dummies, but you know, it is for dummies. It's crazy easy. And this is the portal. And you click on it and it does single sign-on and so forth. So I will create a new project on this portal. And you can use this for free, by the way. There is a free tier. And the free tier, if I'm not mistaken, it has 20,000 transactions per month or something. So it's definitely good for testing and development purposes. So let me create a new project. I will call it testing. I will select the resource from my Azure subscription that I will use. This is the F0 tier, which means free tier. The custom vision service that I created on the portal was on the free tier. So at this point, I got a couple of options, right? The processing type, the project type, sorry, the classification type, and then the domain. So project type will be classification for this case because I want to classify different types of, you know, images instead of recognizing objects in these images. I could do that as well. I guess I have a screenshot of that in my deck. I can show you that. And the second one is classification type. Do you have a single class per image or do you have multiple classes per image? That's a good question. In this case, let's go with single tag per image because all of my images, they have a single object. I just want to be able to differentiate these images from each other. And maybe those are, images of plants or whatever. Something that you couldn't find trained model out there, right? You have to train your own model. That's the purpose of all this, custom vision service. So I will do classification. I will do single class per object, per image. And then the domain. Do you have a domain in this case? So I could choose food, landmarks, retail. And when I choose one of these domains, what happens is that it comes with a pre-trained model, and then I start, adding on top of that additional data to keep training the model from where it comes from. I will just keep general because I don't need help about anything. I don't want a pre-built model or anything. I'm going to start from scratch, and let's create the project. So for this project, in order to test that, I have a bunch of, car images here. So those are all car images that I, randomly found on the internet, and these are usually, pretty random cars, right? Old, new. Some of them are with backgrounds. Some of them are, some of them are small. Some of them are big from a resolution perspective. They have logos and things. So pretty random. So let me go back. The project is created. So it's time to add our images. And where was all this stuff? So let's copy the folder and paste it. Select all of that. Open. So those are cars. So I have to classify it as images, right? So, and I'm saying these are cars. Not that the default object recognition API can recognize cars. This is just for the sake of, creating an example, building it one from scratch. Obviously, it does recognize cars, but in this case, I wanted to create it from scratch for whatever reason. So if you have some more interesting data, obviously, you could come up with a better idea. So I'm uploading all of my images, and I can do this with an API as well. I'm not going through it during this particular presentation, but this portal is actually built by Microsoft using the backend APIs of the custom vision service. And these APIs, they are open. They have an SDK. So you could have a mobile app uploading images into your custom vision service instead of this portal. This is just a playground, right? So the upload is completed, and I will start training. This is as much data as I have, 30 different images of a car, and that's it. So let's start training. I'm gonna do a quick training for now. What? Oh, this is new. And the last time I clicked this button, it didn't, warn me about this. It looks like they're still working on this. Your project can't be trained just yet. Make sure you have at least 2 tags and 5 images for every tag. Okay, that's kind of bad because I'm not sure if I have another 5 images. Let me see. Oh, it looks like we have some buses. 2, 4, 5. Okay, it looks like this was something that I knew about and I prepped myself. Oops. But I don't remember. Okay, let's add some more images. Let's add some buses. Yeah, this is what happens when you get older. You forget things. Bus. Load. Second tag, 5 images, requirement fulfilled. Now I should be able to train. There we go. So model training started based on the data that we uploaded. It shouldn't take long. Done. Cool. Okay, there's 100% precision. Wow. Okay, so now we can start using this model. There's a quick test UI, so we have to find something to test. Let's go find some train, because that is something we didn't upload, right? So the model has no idea what a train is, how it looks like. And to me it looks like a little bit of like a bus, maybe a car. Copy image link and paste it and go. Processing. Okay, this means we have to upload more bus photos because it thinks this is a bus. So out of 5 images, I mean this is a beautiful example of machine learning. Out of 5 images, It's not able to differentiate, but you know what the good news is? It's not a car. See, it's not a car. Because, you know, he knows it's not a car. Cool. It looks like 30 cars was more than enough to, but let's try something more tricky. What if I gave a car? Maybe I'm just playing with you here, right? Or give a photo with the car and the man. Okay, copy image link. Go. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm too excited. 99.9% car, I guess 0.1% human, and then no way this is a bus. That's good. That's good. And this is just, you know, out of 35 images, and that's, I think, it's really good. So, and we didn't write a single line of code, right? So this service is actually pretty flexible. I mean, I didn't show you the other scenarios, but you can upload photos and then start marking objects and give names to objects. But again, I mean, the default API can recognize apples. It's not the point. But there can be something that you want to build in your project that there isn't, you know, a pre-built API or something out there, and you have to build your own thing, and you don't want to, you know, create all that infrastructure and everything and mess with the AI stuff. You know, next, and you're done with it. And there are APIs that you can implement into your solution if you want to, so that you can, you know, push the functionality to production and make it live. Okay, cool. Speech to text. Oh, this is actually another area that I should have mentioned when we were on the Google slide deck. This is something that Google does a little bit better if you're talking about Turkish. I'm not saying it's perfect, but they're doing better. So speech to text, text to speech. I'm not sure if I need to go and explain what these are. I mean, you all know about this. I got a very, very small demo. I told the guys that I don't need sound, but actually for this one, having sound might be good. Let me just show you the code. So in this case, the code is a little bit complex because there wasn't an SDK for this one, so I had to go all raw with the API. So that's why you are seeing things like, you know, it's the client, the subscription key is a header in this case, and I have to send a SAML, thing, whatever they call it. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm getting a parameter here. Let me show that to you. Okay. The text parameter, the text to read, and then I'm sending this XML file to the service. By putting the parameter into it, wrapping it with this XML file, and then getting an audio file out of it. Okay, and that should do it. So let me run this demo as well. This is text to speech. This is pretty fundamental stuff. Here we go. So, oops, I forgot the parameter. Okay, this should be it. Text equals merhaba. Okay, I got an MP3 file. Here we go. I will go the old-fashioned way. Oh, it didn't play? Oh, it's going through HDMI. Oops. Bear with me. I can get it out, that should be enough, I guess. Where is that file? Oh, I already had it. Did you hear that? No? No way? Anyways, it's not important. It says hi. It's classic, stupid text to speech. Somehow they never get better. I don't know why, especially in Turkish. So language, text analytics, again, the reason I still have 45 seconds. So, and I'm very serious about it. She didn't hear me. Anyways, so the reason I'm not very excited about the language and all that stuff, because again, because of Turkish,
It doesn't work very well. I'm not sure even they have support for it. I'm not sure what Google is doing about that. They might be again better with Turkish because they have better support overall, generally for this particular geography. So if you're looking into things like this, I strongly suggest to look into Google's APIs. But those are pretty cool things. I mean, sentiment analysis is specifically very popular nowadays. You know, a lot of people are doing social content crawling and then trying to come up with sentiments to interpret, you know, things, results of, you know, campaigns they're running or whatever. So all these things, you don't need to, you know, build your own thing. You can definitely go out and find an API across these vendors and, you know, start building. I have a demo about this, but you know, it looks like we're out of time. It was a pretty simple demo anyways. It's in the repository on GitHub, so you can go and take a look at it. These are a couple of links I wanted to share about the video indexer. This is the website that you can go and start playing with it. Again, that's free. At least you're going to be able to test out things and see how it works. If you're interested into, you know, the API set for cognitive services, that's the link to go. If you're interested in learning more, there's a session recording from Microsoft's conference Ignite about custom vision specifically, and that's the link. I guess this is a better slide to take the photo because this has the link for the slide deck, so that you can grab the whole thing. Oh, for the source code, it looks like I didn't put, actually, you know what? I have something better for you. Give me a second. Okay, this one should have it. Yeah, there you go. This is it. Go grab it. This link should have the source code as well. This should redirect to a zip file with the presentation and the source code, if I'm not mistaken. The other link on the left is the link to all of my presentations. It's not a download link, it's a link to speakerdeck.com where I have all of my presentations. If any of this doesn't work, hit me on Twitter, you know, hit me hard. You know, I will share whatever is missing. And I don't think we have time for Q&A, do we? The time god, where are you? The clock person, where are you? What do you call yourself? Okay, she's definitely not here or shy. Anyways, if you have any questions, I mean, find me back there, and thanks for being with us. Thank you.